for the sea to give up its dead, he didn't mention that part, but that was part of the reason that was such a powerful example, than to hurt kids. Politicians and bureaucrats in this state are hurting and stealing from children. We got to stop it. And this gentleman finally said to me, as he looked at the math, he goes, but I got a doctorate from Yale. And I said, I have a calculator. Show me where the math is wrong. You can't. We got to stop it. Now, let's we sort of wrapped up 10, 12, 13, and 14 together. Present a bold and comprehensive agenda to address the scourge of illegal immigration within our borders. Now, I don't have a problem with people who want to come and build a better life, but I am not naive. I live in the Drake area in Des Moines, and across the street were the coolest guys. They used to like to see my TV show, and they'd invite me over, and they'd have these vats, and they'd cook the pork in them, and they'd get Pepsi, even though I drink Diet Pepsi, but we couldn't understand each other. But there's certain language that is universal around the cookout. And they were the coolest guys, and they worked hard. And one day I came home, and I said, where are the neighbors? And well, the administration had kicked in the door and hauled them away. And let me explain something to you. Undocumented is when you get stopped by a cop and you can't prove you have insurance until you go down to the courthouse on October 3rd to show your proof of insurance. That's undocumented. Undocumented is not being here for years and you show up at a anti-tax rally or an anti-war rally, and the next day the feds, Republican-led and Democrat-led, kick in your door and haul you away. You are not undocumented. You are illegal, and that's why they are hauling you away. This is a joke. This is 21st century slavery. There is no compassion. Folks are not addressing things like folks dying in boxcars in the desert or in boxcars on trains up north, sweating to death, baking to death, freezing to death, oxygen deprived, sold into slavery, brutalized by a culture that doesn't recognize any legal rights for them. This is a brutal, savage phenomenon that is done for the benefit of us being able to buy a burger for 50 cents less. And the time has come for us to quit pretending as if the scourge of illegal immigration isn't real. So, let's, I got to bring the first chart up first. We can see, even in the early part of this decade where Iowa was experiencing this massive explosion, and states like Arizona and Oklahoma start passing laws that then started pushing folks toward the community. So if we had a current version of this chart, we would see where our color shifted and changed significantly. Now, when we look at the impact of illegal immigration, it's hurting us in certain ways. Can we get this off for a minute? Okay, one, illegal immigrants are costing Iowa's taxpayers at all levels of government between about $750 to $1 billion. Two, illegal immigrants hired by the big agribusiness, construction companies, and service industry business are destroying our wage base. Now you have, a lot of folks in the Democratic Party don't care about illegal immigration because they get votes, numbers in the census. And we see a lot of big-time GOP contributors are the ones hiring illegals. And also, let's make this clear. I was talking to a gentleman in Sioux City who used to work in the packing house industry, and he said, when our illegals got out of line, we would just call immigration, have them haul them away, and bring more back. So we have to address this at the level of the employer. But the point is, we also see illegal immigration, while it's attracting some good, decent, honest people who just want a way of life, it's also attracting a certain other element that follows. Now, when we saw urban refugee populations come into Iowa or move to places like Las Vegas, we saw businesses like Gates Barbecue follow them. And we also found in Iowa, for example, the cocaine and heroin trade followed. Well, in the case of illegals, we're seeing a certain criminal element that is following. That is a matter of documented fact. We cannot continue to ignore. Again, when 6 men live in an apartment so they can send the money home, I'm not mad at them. I have much more respect for them than the men who make babies here and abandon those babies. But all you have to do is go to a, if not millions of dollars on a weekly basis, are leaving our state and going thousands of miles away, hundreds of miles away, if not thousands of miles away. We're not building Iowa. We're building other states, other communities, if not another country. So then, you know, what are some of the, and I forgot one of the charts that talked about the actions, but there are a couple of core actions. One, we need to really deal with employers. And this is one thing we're calling on the Branstad administration and the new leadership to address, is lay out a clear strategy on how to engage the workforce. And there are ways to do this. For example, take all the information I, as an American citizen, am required to bring into an employer, put that on a state employment card like a Social Security card, and then require folks to get it at the point of authentication, just like we do now with the driver's license, where you go in, get a temporary license, and they mail to an address. This would cut down significantly on the employee-related fraud. And then the second thing you do is you deny services, which then takes, and you comply with the law. Comply with the law in denying services, which would then end the subsidy for the slave wages that the employers are paying. Now, what are the benefits? One, illegal immigration reform will result in restoration of a competitive wage scale in numerous industries, like the construction trades. Two, illegal immigration reform will significantly freeing up tens of thousands, possibly 100,000 or more jobs. No one has the accurate number, but definitely tens of thousands of jobs will be freed up by really addressing this issue. Three, illegal immigration reform will keep up to 200 million circulating our state economy that currently leaves our state or country. And then four, illegal immigration reform will take many wage-paying jobs from under the table and put them on the formal tax books. And then finally, illegal immigration reform will free up employment opportunities for teens and college students, but also for folks like the elderly and single moms looking for supplemental income. And so we're calling upon the Republicans to develop a strategy to deal with this. Now, our last couple of areas, we're not going to spend as much time on it, but we need to see the Branstad administration announce an end to the abuse of the administrative rules process. And you only need two things. You need to, one, instruct your board and commissions that they are not to send administrative rules to the legislature that subvert a legitimate process. Now, I know that how this works because as a chair of a commission, years ago, almost 2 decades ago, I learned how the administrative rules work. You put stuff in. I remember going over to the governor's office after our executive director got called on the carpet, and he said, and I'm talking to the governor's chief of staff, and he said, well, what is this? I said, well, look. You guys signed it. The legislature passed it. He's like, how did this happen? Now, I didn't want to say because you people didn't read, but the truth is the administrative rules process is universally accepted under